businesses, specific law enforcement, specific towns. I think tomorrow is like Think Parks or whatever. And it's a beautiful thing. It's called the Community Programming Initiative. And one of the members of it now is the Calumet Painting and Restoration. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning.
Tell people your name again.
My name's Rick Suarez. I'm the president of the Calumet Painting and Restoration.
And how long you been doing that?
Well, about 30 years. I retired Hammy fireman, so I did a lot of the work, when I was on the fire department, working 24 on at the station, and we had 2 days off, so I started in the business, 30-some years ago, and, it's gone really well. We're over at 6733 Columbia. Right across the street from the salvage place that has all the treasures that some people call junk, other people call treasures,
And that's a really popular one on Columbia.
Yeah.
It's kind of by the big bike bridge.
Yeah.
And they, quite frankly, man, when they get a new load in, you could tell because there's all sorts of people parked up and down the street there.
Oh, yeah. I keep my eye. When he comes in with the trailer, I'm usually looking out my window, and then I go running across, see if he's got any ladders or things I'm looking for, So, yeah, it's good friends of mine there, and I understand they're closing their business, so I think everything that they have in there is going to be up for sale. So people that are looking for them kind of things, it'd be a good time to head over there.
So Rick Suarez, former Hammond firefighter, obviously has pretty good business, Calumet Painting and Restoration, and has joined the Community Programming Initiative. The first time we did the show, we just kind of introduced Rick and what they're doing. But if you have any specific questions, because it's not just about painting, it's you have branched out into other areas. But if you have any questions, 219-845-1100. If you're hearing this at another time, this is being recorded here on February 11th of 2025, and you can call now. If you're catching it another time and you try to call, it doesn't work because it's recorded. But we understand the Calumet Painting, and that's kind of how I always understood it. But now it's and restoration. What's that mean?
Well, that means that we've expanded into doing. We do actually one-day baths where we come in and install the high. What do they call it? They call it a high acrylic. High-end acrylic type product, round as a surround, and then we'll take the tubs out. Older people, have trip issues with stepping. I think everybody does, actually stepping over the tub to get in the shower. So we do that. We take the tub out, put a flat surface, safer entry in and out of the shower area. We also do a lot of kitchens and cabinets, painting cabinets. So anybody got a question on how to do that, I'll be more than happy to answer that question for you. It's a process. Some people are really good at it, other people not so much, but I guess that would be up to your own discretion if you want to tackle that kind of job. I could give you some good information on that. And then right now we're doing with our winter discounts. We have a bunch of discounts going on. It's a great time to hire a painter, not only myself, but there's a lot of good painters out there. This is the time that most painters are going to be discounting their work, try to get into the season where they can get back outside, which is close. The restoration part, by the way, to answer your question, is we do a lot of condo associations, throughout the summer where we go in, and we just kind of learned over the time that the boards were more apt to hire us for the painting end if we were able to do all the repairs out in front. Repair soffits, siding, take off wood siding, replace it, you name it, anything, window trim and all that. So we got some carpenters that work alongside of us that are actually painters too. And it's helped us, secure some of that work because board members are basically just volunteers. And so it's easier for them just to be dealing with one contractor as opposed to trying to run a schedule with the carpenters and then the painters and then the gutter guys and all that stuff. So we just kind of evolved into that just kind of out of necessity.
So you guys are going to that big Tinley show?
Yes, we'll be at the Tinley show this Saturday. I think it's the 15th and the 16th. That show runs, I think, 10 to 5. If you're planning on going there, just take 80 straight out and get off on Harlem. You can't miss it if you look to your right. Huge building, beautiful facility there. The convention center, I think it's called the South Shore Convention Center, South Side or something. South End Convention Center. But But I would suggest you go early because it's really really well attended. It's we do 5 or 6 shows, home shows a year, and that's the one that probably has the most people.
That's 80 in Harlem, right?
80 in Harlem. Yep. That's
Yeah,
in
you can.
Tinley Park. Yep.
Yeah, it's really a nice facility, and I have not been to this show, but I have heard about it.
Yep.
I'm kind of in the. At some point, my wife wants me to redo a bathroom, and I'll just use my own situation. We're upstairs, and we've always been upstairs in a really kind of a nice suite, but we have a downstairs, and we're like, all right, well, eventually we're going to move downstairs, so we're going to have to go up the stairs as we get older.
Yep.
And she's like, I don't want to move down there until we redo the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over to Home Depot, and I was looking at those single unit things that you were talking about, those high-end acrylics.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I had done that in the late 90s at the old house, and it was I thought it was kind of cheap, and it wasn't fit right, and there was a little bit of give in the wall, and I'm like, oh, this is really, I sold the house, and it was somebody else's problem. But I looked at the new ones and started talking to the guy at Home Depot who was a former plumber, and he's like, no, man, it's not like the old days.
Yeah.
This is what people do. They put the whole unit in there, especially if you need the bathtub or you don't need the bathtub. It's attached.
Right.
And then I looked on YouTube, and I mean, it's still, you want your guys to put it in,
sure.
but it's okay to put in a single unit, right?
Yeah. They come in different shapes, forms, and all different kind of colors. Actually, the product that we use is made up on the north side. It's actually on the north side. I think it's Wheeling or one of those towns up north. So we have easy access to go get the product. It comes in different ways. Most of the time, it comes in three separate sections of the wall, but it comes in some dynamite colors and stuff, and it's attached right to the wall. So you know how you're talking about that give? There ain't no give because it's on the wall.
I'm talking about kind of one of the
one
early iterations of that.
Yeah.
And,
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? It's like,
exactly.
I'm like, this is really cool. And then I had a really good guy come in and put it in.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I think that's just how it's made. You can't
it
do
is.
it.
And the pan itself, spray foamed underneath, solid, closed cell, very solid. We set it in cement when we lay it in, so it doesn't have any give. You could be a heavy person, and there would be absolutely no give to that floor at all.
So when you're talking about these things, like you're talking about most people, what's that standard length of the
60 by 30 or 32, 60, wide. And then, from the back wall back to the front, or the width of it, I guess you could call it. Usually 30, 32 is where you're going to.
So let's go with 60 by 30.
Yeah.
And, just looking at it, just happened to be looking at them. And there's basically two units. One is, like, say you're taking a bathtub out. Well, you could put a bathtub back in.
Yep.
And it seems like a much lighter bathtub than a lot of the other ones that are coming out usually.
Definitely. Yeah.
And you could have the 3 sections of wall above it, and then it just goes, right up to your wall.
Yep.
Or you could take your bathtub out and come back in with a shower only. What are most people doing?
Most people are getting rid of the bathtub, and putting a shower pan down, solid surface shower pan, and then they put new walls because the grout it takes more maintenance than that flat panels that we would put in. You have some areas you got to kind of watch, but other than that, very little maintenance on it. Then we put the grab bars in there. We're talking about people that are getting up in ages. It's a safety issue, so there's grab bars when you come in. The curb's about that high. It's about 3 inches high at the most, 2 inches to 3 inches, so it's an easy step in. And then shower doors come in. Some people just do curtains, but that's it's a personal thing. I just think the shower doors look more attractive, and there's all different kinds of doors we can put in.
So what do you mean by curtains?
Curtain rod, which is the two sides of the curtain. One is the plastic side that would hold the moisture out, and the other is the more decorative that would say on the outside, that you see when you walk in.
So you're talking in that case about a tub.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because on the typically on the, if you put the one unit in there, you're not going to need the the curtain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, how long does this take?
Well, they says, the way we got trained was that you can do them in a day, and that's what we saying as little as a day. But most of the time there's a problem, or an issue that we got to do. Let's say, for instance, if we're taking the tub out and putting a new pan in, once we set this in cement, the new pan, we can't do anything else at that point because we can't step on it because it's still wet. So that's just one day right there. So if you're doing something like that, it's a 2-day process. I would say most of the time within 2 days we can get them done.
So really, it takes, I don't know, just a couple hours to knock the old one out usually. Mm-hmm. And then you got to set it, and then you might come back the next day and once it in there. Now, if it's a shower and you're just stapling it to the foam board or whatever,
right.
It might be a little less.
Less time, yeah. And most of the time it's not an issue if you have another bathroom in the house. It becomes an issue when the older homes, when there's only one bathroom, and then you got to make arrangements. They just need to know, that if they have a neighbor or a friend where they can go use the bathroom, or or they leave the house for a day or something. But most of the time, if you have 2 bathrooms, it's not an issue. We can get it turned around pretty quick. So.
We're talking to Rick Suarez with Calumet Painting and Restoration. If you got any questions about redoing your bathroom or anything in your house, it's a newer show. Take a little while to kind of get some momentum. But if you got any questions about any of this. So I want to go back on the bathrooms because a lot of people, especially now in the winter, are like, all right, and they can get better prices out of you. I'll be honest. Yeah. They get better prices out of the painters and the rest. A lot of people because they can't go outside, and now is that time to do that. Exactly. But the it's not just one unit. I mean, there's a vanity and I mean, do you do that too?
Yep, we could do all the installs on that. That's where my buddy Tips comes in sometimes and helps because of the plumbing on that side. And also sometimes. It's a little, we might be doing some electrical work, so we bring a sub in.
He's a fireman. He was a fireman that did the same thing. You had to, whenever I would call him, I had to wait. He's like, dude, I got to work, Tuesday and Saturday, and then I'm off for like 5 days, and then I'll do it then. I'm like, but my toilet's not working now. It's like, what are you going to do? Use a different toilet, dude. All right. But anyways.
It sounds like something you would say, too.
So you can do it, and that would match what you choose.
Yes. We work with the homeowners. I mean, it's kind of a natural thing on Colors Trust because that's really our trade, on the painting side. And so, normally that's usually not that hard in the bathroom. Picking colors gets harder when you're doing multiple rooms and living rooms and dining rooms that you can see other rooms through them. But like in the bathroom, typically you can get like a neutral color or some color you can play off on the walls. It's a smaller area. Typically, that's the easy part, really painting the bathroom. But we can take the vanities out. We can take the toilets out. We can do ceramic tile. We can put ceramic tile on your floors. And then the surround part of it's another thing. That's usually a little bit more of a demo because if you're going to go from a bathtub to a shower, then you got to run the new mixer valve and all that to go up to the shower and all that. And then there's different kind of handles you can get. Like as you get older, a lot of people seem to like the wand that you can take off, and it's actually there's some that are magnetic. You just stick back up there. But yeah, that's all choices that people need to make, and that all influences the price naturally. Which way you go and what different faucets and stuff that you like.
Toilets, you put that in too, right?
Yep.
So I'm just curious, are very many of them going for that vacuum flush, loud flush, or is it?
I can say I personally don't remember us really selling any of those. To be honest with you, most of them are the high boys now. They'll get the higher seat on them. Everybody's kind of gone away from that lower one, unless it's a really small person. Every now and then we get one that wants the lower one, but most people just take the higher. For older people, it's just easier, But
the high boy, but what I'm talking about, and I don't know the terminology, but most toilets are, it comes out of the tank and then it swirls and everything goes down.
Yeah.
But there's also the vacuum type toilet. What is that? The term is
turbocharged or something. I forget what they call it. Yeah, I know exactly what you're
I
talking
mean,
about. Yeah.
you flush that
And that
toilet
thing goes.
and
Yeah.
it goes, roar, but
Yeah.
it really sucks.
Yeah.
It's there's some sort of
Yeah, I
vacuum
think
created.
there is. Yeah, what probably some type of Venturi effect or something.
Yeah,
That when
and then
goes
it
in, yeah,
and
yeah,
and so I've got I think 4 toilets in
yeah,
the house,
yeah.
and there was one that is kind of in the public area, and we
Mm-hmm.
were entertaining from time to time, and it was backing up,
Yeah.
and so it happened a number of times, and finally the plumber comes over and he goes, "Well, this is located in an area where it's not right next to a bedroom." He goes, "But if you don't mind the sound and you put in one of those turbochargers,
Yeah.
you will cut down on it getting backed up."
Yep.
And ever since we put that kind of an expensive vacuum
Yeah.
toilet,
Yeah.
it's so loud,
Yeah.
but it is away from the bedrooms and people can use it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about someone going in there. Every time you see someone going in there, you're going, "Oh my gosh, I hope it doesn't." I'm in there with a plunger, embarrassing everybody.
Yeah.
But it does work,
Yeah.
man. It's
Yeah.
just loud as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I can say we have not installed one of those, so. Maybe by the next show we do, I'll have some more information.
Someone will call you.
Yeah.
Someone will say, "Hey, dude, I heard Didlo talking about that. I got the
Yeah.
same problem.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
have Tyberski put that in for
There
me?"
you go. Yeah.
So we're talking about bathrooms,
Yeah.
and obviously this is a good time to get a price on a bathroom.
Yep.
You said you have winter
Yep.
discounts right now. What's that mean?
Yeah, winter discounts. Well, because it's slower. It's always slower for inside work. It's easy. I wouldn't say it's easy, but we got the experience with our painters that have been with us for a long time that we can get in a house and really basically do a whole house from top to bottom in 3 days. 4 days max. So it's a challenge for us, and that's really my job is to keep enough work there for the guys to keep going. So we start discounting it to keep our guys busy. We end up making less money on them. But it keeps our guys busy until we get to our busy season, which is basically from April 15th on all the way to around Thanksgiving anymore. We stay outside. So yeah, it's a good time for any inside work, I believe. I think most contractors would be willing to give a little more of a discount right now just to keep busy.
So let's move on and let's talk about kitchens.
Yeah.
So kitchens, maybe a little bit more elaborate than a bathroom, and depending on what you're doing.
Yep.
But you were talking about cabinets.
Yep.
Now, since I'm doing this show, believe it or not, I prepped a little bit, and I went over and looked at some of the cabinets. Now, just my observation, just from being in Home Depot and looking at them, was that when I redid mine and like Mika came over and they put a bunch of stuff, it was all kind of individual units, each one little bit.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that a lot of them are like, 3 cabinets, 4 cabinets, and they're single bigger units rather than having the individual ones. So is that, I mean...
Yeah, the cabinets are typically made of two doors, 3 doors, one door, 2 doors, or 3 doors, I should say. And typically, like where the sink's at, that's usually 6 and 60-inch wide cabinet, one cabinet with 2 doors. No fake drawers on the front because that interferes with the sink. So, but the other ones usually have drawers, and it depends on the configuration of your kitchen, the size of the kitchen. And that's how you typically come up with the cabinet sizes. So, if you go like Menards, I think most places have it now. I know Menards has it because you can sit down with them and give them the dimension, and they'll fit the cabinets in there. You could see it visually, and then you could decide what type of cabinet. There's all different kinds. There's some cabinets that are just 3 drawers, and there's some cabinets that's just 1 door. It depends on what your needs are. Like if you want to put, let's say, lids, you need a taller cabinet, and so they make cabinets just for that purpose.
So if somebody comes in to you, Calumet Painting and Restoration, I mean, what do they choose from for the cabinets?
Okay, well, typically the majority of our work comes in if people are not don't want to get rid of their cabinets. They like their cabinets the way they are. They just don't like the color, or they're kind of getting old, they're a little bit out of whack. The doors are not hanging right, that kind of stuff. So we kind of tighten all that up. And typically what we do with them is the majority of our workers that we come in and we take all the drawers off, we repaint or recoat the cabinet, refinish it is what we call it. Sometimes it's a restaining. Most of the time, it's anymore. The trend is to go to the painted cabinets. So you can get uh, all different colors. Some of them two-tone them. There's some people that got a really good eye, like to do some like a dark gray on the bottom. I think the most popular one we do is dark gray on the bottom and either a white or a real light gray on top. So it's like a two-tone, real sharp look. Uh, Cabinets look like new. Uh, Probably for a third of the cost of replacing your cabinets. Cabinets can be very expensive, and I would say probably the most expensive room in your house. If you start talking about the counter and all that stuff, replacing all that, it can get real pricey. So it's what we do basically is just refinish the old ones. We can install new ones and stuff. We don't do the stone top, the tops that are solid, not the solid, well, even the solid surface ones. Those we kind of sub out to somebody else to come in and put the whether you're going to granite or whatever you may be doing on top. But all the other stuff, we can take the cabinets out, reinstall new cabinets and all that if you wanted to go the new route. But it's you really got to be careful. You gotta kind of do. We can lead you in the right direction. Ultimately, it's the homeowner's choice of which way they want to go, whether they want to maintain what they have and just refinish it, or to go ahead and get a whole new counters and all that stuff. So. Then all the lighting and all the other stuff plays into it, and that's where we get the electrician. We have another retired fireman that does some electrical for us. And then what the other thing that happens with the cabinets is sometimes people want to do it, and I mentioned this earlier, they want to try that themselves. And it's a borderline thing, whether it's a do-it-yourself project or not, because all of the stuff that we do, we spray it on, so you get like a sprayed finish, a factory finish. If you want to try rolling it out, it's possible to do, but you really got to kind of know what you're doing. It's a lot of prep work. The cabinets typically have grease from cooking that you don't really even realize. So you have to really do a good job at the greasing, the cleaning, the sanding, priming. So there's a lot that goes into it, but it can be done. Me personally, I would say leave it to professional. Either call someone like Calumet Painting, or there's other outfits that do cabinet refinishing. So
219-845-1100. These are way more people listen later, to be honest with you, and this is being recorded on February 11th of 2025. I do believe we got a couple phone calls I want to ask. 219. There you go. We lost that one. Let's take the second one then. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Hello, how you doing?
Good. What's up, man?
I got a question about cabinets.
Sure, go ahead, shoot.
Yeah, when's a good time to take out the cabinets to get them sanded down?
What do you mean by a good time? What time of year?
I mean, yeah, because wintertime it's too cold.
No, you can take them out now. I mean, what we do is we take down all the doors and drawers, take them to our shop, we sand them and do a whole process, a spraying process at the shop, and then repackage them, take them back to your house, and then the boxes stay there, and we just refinish those on site. Typically, kind of seal the kitchen off. So this is the perfect time of the year to do it if you're trying to do that yourself. Or it's also the perfect time to get a contractor to come in and give you some pricing on it.
Okay. What do you have a special tool to put the handles on?
Well, they make some what they call jigs, that keep the handle in the same spot. And so you basically, if you're going to re-drill holes and stuff, then like if you're going to change the knobs or the pulls on the door, it would be best to stay with, if it has two holes in it, to stay with that style. But if you're going to change to just a regular one pull, then you're going to have to fill the holes on this, the existing holes that are in there now. Take the handle off, fill them holes.
Well, my cabinets don't have any holes in it. That's what I'm saying. I need it.
Okay. Well, then you could. There's a jig you can buy at the store. Almost all the stores carry them, and it centers for you. It'll mark it for you, and then that each one is in the exact same spot.
Oh, well, thank you for your help, sir. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Call Calumet Painting and Restoration if you got any. I got more questions about that process also. And but ultimately, you said something during that phone call that you're not doing the door and drawer refinishing and priming on site, you're taking that back
Yeah.
over here to Columbia Avenue.
Yes, we are. We take it back to our shop, and we have a little more control of the environment in there. And we have a shop that is pretty wide open, so we can get in there and sand it. And that's just extra dust and stuff we can keep out of your house. And so then we do all of that. We basically the process is we clean them real good, then we sand them down. We got to cut into the urethane finish that they typically have on them, and then there's a bonding primer that we have to put on there to make sure that something's got to bite onto the existing finish. And then you could typically paint them with, people paint them with all different kind of things. We're just getting into a new product from Sherwin-Williams called Gallery that it comes in two different types, I guess. One's called the 1K and the other's called the 2K. That just means that one of them is you need to mix it, and the other one you don't have to mix it. So we use typically the 1K, which is a little bit more forgiving, I guess you could say, for us. It sprays on real thin. You almost need to spray it, though. It goes on real thin, so you need to put multiple coats on it. But it's got beautiful finish, beautiful lasting thing. It's the kind of stuff that if you were to get it from a factory, would be the same type of finish that you get.
He's Rick Suarez, Hammond firefighter, former Hammond firefighter, started this up, and now he's a podcaster and a radio and TV star.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Calumet Painting and Restoration there on Columbia in Hammond. Thanks a lot, Rick.
No problem.
Until next time, see you guys later.